But probably the biggest story today is the start of mandatory minicamp for the Detroit Lions. And Darius Slay, social media yesterday, asked about training camp, said, I don't know, I ain't going. Hey, man, I'm chilling, man. So he's not going. Then Pro Football Talk cited a source with knowledge of the situation, said defensive lineman Damon Harrison also won't go. Now, the belief is, and it hasn't been disputed, this is about contracts. Slay is 28. He's got 2 years left on his contract, 2019 and 2020. Harrison, same thing, except he's 30. He's got 2 years left, 2019 and 2020. Darius Slay paid him a contract that annually had him the 7th highest paid corner in the NFL, and now I think he's down to 13th because other guys signed contracts. Most of the guys, almost all of like the top 30 are 30 or under in terms of payment. But some of those guys eventually will be over 30. But right now, I think it's something like 3 of the top 28 paid corners are 30 years old or under. And there's a few guys that are above that, above the age of 30. And that's in part because I think skills start to deteriorate and guys get cut. But you got Damon Harrison at the age of 30. He makes $6.75 this year and $9 next year. Now, the Freep was reporting that Slay had forfeited a $250,000 bonus for missing voluntary workouts. And skipping all 3 days of the mandatory minicamp would trigger a maximum fine of $88,650.
I think those are the same numbers for Harrison, too.
Slay added that he plans to play for the Lions this fall. You know, he said, and in his tweet, he said, and I plan on still signing as many jerseys as I can as I'm walking out of the tunnel. The implication is, I'm not showing up for work yet, but I plan on being there when it's time to play games. You know, a few weeks ago, we asked the question, who's more of a priority to give a new contract? Because this story's been brewing under the surface for a while, and we've kind of talked about it sporadically. And your choices actually was Kang with the original tweet, our producer. Is it Slay, is it Harrison, or is it neither? And it was interesting because the Twitter results were really different than what we get in phone calls and texts. And generally these things line up and are in lockstep. That wasn't the case. Based upon the phone calls and text traffic that we get, I would have predicted that of this Twitter poll, the answer to who deserves a contract more, Slay, Harrison, or neither.
Who deserves it? A brand new deal. Gotta get that deal. Same thing?
Very similar.
Okay.
Darius wants to be called captain, too, by the way. It's weird.
I would have thought neither would have run away with it, based upon the phone calls and the text traffic that we get.
Well, I don't remember what I said last week when we discussed it. But I think after giving a lot of thought to it the last couple of days, and specifically today because of the reports, I have a hard time. I mean, Slay's getting paid pretty well for that deal, and there's 2 years left on it. It bothers me, the fact there's 2 years left on both of these guys' deals, and neither one apparently is going to come to minicamp. That bothers me because it's 2 years. Going into the last year, I get it, but not with 2 years to go. And Slay's going to be paid pretty well over the next couple of years to do that. Harrison, on the other hand, you can make a very strong argument that he's underpaid. At under $7 million for this year, what is it, $9 million for next year? For a guy who is an absolute difference maker on the defensive line. There's no question. You cannot refute that one iota when it comes to the difference he made for the Lions, specifically against the run when he was in the game and when he was out of the game. We saw a dramatic, it's like over a yard difference, I think, per carry. You can make that argument, that a very strong argument, he deserves a bigger contract. So if you want to extend one of the two, it makes more sense from a deserving standpoint to me for Harrison to get paid more. I don't know how much more. That's for other people to figure out and see what the contracts are for McCoy and Sue and figure it out, because he's not McCoy and he's not Sue. He's a different kind of player, but should slot in slightly below what those guys are going to get. And what did Sue get? A 1-year deal for 9 something?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just, hey, fine, let's rip up this contract and we'll give you a 3-year deal for $27 million. And we'll guarantee 18 of it. Something like that. So the first 2 years would be guaranteed, the third one wouldn't. I don't know how you do it, but whatever it is, I think you need to look at something like that. For Darius Slay, it's tougher for all the reasons you said. He is a corner that's going to be entering his 30s shortly, and you worry about that. Some people thought that maybe he did take a slight step back. I'm not as concerned about that, but I think it is something to keep in mind. But he's making pretty good money, and I don't think it's totally disparate to what the rest of the cornerbacks are making, or the top cornerbacks in the league are making.
Well, I have a problem in a cap world with guys that are certainly not being ridiculously undercompensated. Neither Darius Slay nor Damon Harrison are ridiculously undercompensated, are they?
Not ridiculously. No.
My issue is, in a cap world, there is a pie, and everybody on the roster has a slice of the pie. Some are bigger than others. And when you are saying, I deserve more of a pie, it has a direct impact on everybody else's slice of the pie, or how much pie is left to go sign free agents. I will state this as an ardent, soul-standing, I feel like last supporter of the quarterback in this town, that I think a renegotiation with him, well, I'm not sure if it's even possible, but something to free up cap space if necessary would be okay. The quarterback is on his way to being the highest paid quarterback in the history of the league. And his play isn't requisite of that. And he's the benefactor of timing. Nobody in perhaps any career has had better timing than Matthew Stafford to be the number one quarterback taken, and right before a rookie salary cap goes into place.
Right.
And every year with escalating salaries, he and Sam Bradford were the last two to get these massive, massive rookie quarterback deals. Then rookie cost certainty was brought into place. And he may walk away as the highest paid quarterback in the history of the league.
By Stafford's third year in the league, he was putting up some pretty big numbers. In the fourth year, he definitely put up some big numbers. And once you put up those numbers and your contract comes up,
guess what?
You just hit the jackpot.
You go up from there.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else's starting point where they're going up from is so far behind what Stafford had. A renegotiation with him and a more team-friendly deal, and just say to him, look, we're trying to build a winner. And I get nobody wants to give money back. I don't. You don't. Nobody in their line of work. But you know what we don't have? We don't have salary caps in any of our jobs. And every job has a budget. But nobody's caring about, how any of these other industries in the real world survive, unless it's yours, unless it directly impacts you. The Lions, we all care. We all care. And what's most important is that they build a winner. So find a way to free up money if you need it to better the football team. And that, I think the best place to go is to number 9. Now, with that said, I am concerned, and like I was watching Dave Burkett on Twitter last night, the Free Press writer who was tweeting about this, and some of the Twitter action that came up was, this is why the Lions will always suck. 2 best defensive players aren't at minicamp. These are your leaders. These are some of the questions that are coming up. And kind of, yeah.
It's bothersome.
Yeah, it is.
It's bothersome. They've added some new pieces to the defense, and specifically with Trey Flowers. And, I mean, with a new guy, an impact guy like Trey Flowers, I want him getting along with everybody on the team. Mm-hmm. And not that he wouldn't, but, it just seems like get acclimated to your teammates. Learn what they're about and, play together, talk to each other. And it's frustrating because you have guys that are under contract, and they're not just under contract. They have 2 years left on it. Now is not the time at least in my mind, now is not the time that you do the contract. I mean, sure, you want your agent to negotiate it. That's fine. You want to renegotiate it, do that. But you still show up and do the work. And I would think that showing up and doing the work, that might go farther towards the goodwill of getting that contract than holding out of minicamp.
Yeah,
and
I'm
simply
showing up in
indicating
good
that you're
faith.
probably going to show up and play for the regular season.
wanna
You're
be-
not going to come to the
you guys
minicamp.
have been in sports, talk for forever. That's not how it works.
I
and
know
you
it's not
that.
how it
That's
works.
Never
I know
how it works. You got to hold out for any leverage that you have to get a new contract. Now, if we're all going to be honest here, everyone's being selfish. Ownership, fans, and the players. And I can understand from everyone's point of view, they want what they want. From the ownership, hey, you guys are making pretty good money, like you guys said, and you still have 2 years under contract. We'd like you to honor that contract, at least for another year, and then we can start renegotiating, maybe with a year left. Fans, they want these guys to renegotiate, or not renegotiate. The guys like Stafford, you said, to renegotiate, to open up more money, or these guys not to want a new deal because you want more money for other positions on the team. And the players, they want to get as much money as they can right now because the career span for an NFL player is very short, and any leverage you have, you got to take advantage of.
Well, the other thing is this. It was just last week that the NFL Players Association gave the order, if you will, to their association, to the players, start saving your money because the collective bargaining agreement comes up after 2020, I think, and it may be a tough one to get through. So these guys want the deals in now so they can maximize that money before the new CBA takes place.